So you already know the score. Thank you for tuning in. That is Matt behind the camera. I'm Ben. We have a mascot skeleton in our crew, and that makes this stuff they don't want you to know. This week, we have been looking at an old topic that we revisited, and that was peak oil. And as we were looking at this, we said, well, we need to update this, but we also never really talked about the big oil conspiracies and all the conspiracy theories surrounding oil. So in this update video, we would like to give you 5 of the biggest conspiracies about oil and fossil fuels, and then we'd like to ask you if there are some other ones we haven't heard of, so let us know in the comments. Number 1, that oil companies are actively suppressing alternative energy. You hear this with things going as far back as Wardenclyffe Tower, right? The idea of free energy not being a good profit model. You also hear this with things like 0-point energy. People who believe in it say that it only seems like junk science because it's being portrayed that way at the behest of oil companies. Thomas Murray, who we also have another podcast on, would be an excellent example of this. Number 2, that automobile manufacturers conspired to destroy public transit networks, electric streetcars, in order to make you, if you live in America, buy a car. More on that later. Number 3, the idea that all of the wars we hear about in the Middle East, all of the ideological reasons, all of the religious reasons are really just window dressing for one thing: control over resources, specifically control over the Strait of Hormuz. Number 4, and this is an interesting one, that peak oil has already arrived, that it's come and it's gone, and the world is headed to hell in a handbasket, and the world leaders of government and business just don't want you to know. And this leads us to number 5, something you have probably seen in the news. Ladies and gentlemen, at least here in the United States, the price of gas is going down. Now, for a lot of people, that's great news because it makes things a little bit easier, especially around the holidays, to not pay as much for gasoline. However, why is the price of gas going down? I mean, in most parts of the world, gas steadily increased for a long time, certainly increased more often than it decreased. So what gives? Here's the conspiracy theory that OPEC is working with the West, primarily the United States, to drive down prices of gas or petrol or natural gas in an act of economic warfare. That's the idea, that the gas price is going down. You and I having an easier time at the pump is just a side effect of this economic conflict. And why would lowering the price of gas be an act of war? It seems kind of like a cool thing to do. Well, here's why. If you're a country like Russia or Iran, one of your biggest sources of revenue is going to be fossil fuels. For Russia, it's natural gas, for instance. And when the prices of these things lower, it makes it much, much more difficult for these countries to continue as they would otherwise, not even counting the sanctions. So if we walk back through this, are some of these true? Is there a grain of truth, or any of them utter bunk? I'll go ahead and tell you right now that the automobile manufacturers really did destroy streetcars. At least that's what the court said, because the court found them guilty and even fined them. I know, right? I mean, they fined them $1. True story, $1, but at least they had a fine. So these are 5 of the biggest conspiracy theories about oil. But we haven't gotten to all of them. So which ones are your favorite? Is there something that we should have mentioned on the show? Is peak oil a myth? Is it just something that is meant to scare people, as one of our earlier commenters said on our video that we put out on Wednesday? So tell us what you think here in the comments. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Like, subscribe, share. Let us know what we should cover in an upcoming episode. And if you don't want to comment on YouTube, if you're not comfortable with a bunch of people seeing what you write, we get it. We have an email address. You can write to us directly at conspiracy@howstuffworks.com.